And then the last one you want to talk about, did we talk about Chris Curtis and Kelvin Gastelum?
Not yet. The prelim premiere fight or prelim main event, whatever they're
Yeah,
calling
prelim
it
main
these
event.
days. Yeah, I'm rolling with Chris Curtis in this one. Basically, like we were saying before, 2 years in the UFC, not even, and activity, lots of wins, only one loss out of all the fights he's had in the UFC so far. Exciting all the time. And then you look at Kelvin Gastelum; he really hasn't been active. He really hasn't had many notable wins recently, or wins period. Um, and right now it looks like Chris Curtis is currently an underdog. So the odds keep like flipping back and forth. But we've seen this happen a couple of times with these very exciting guys pretty recently. Like Justin Gaethje is one that comes to mind where he was an underdog, and he's a guy that you don't normally get as an underdog. These very exciting brawler type guys in a fight that you know maybe Vegas doesn't think it's their fight, but me personally, I'm all the way with Chris Curtis this week at plus 105. I'm snagging him right now as soon as we get off here so that I can get him at plus money. But yeah, I'm with the action man this week. I think it's going to be an exciting fight and potentially a finish maybe.
Yeah, this one scares me because I feel like everything is pulling me towards Chris Curtis. He has been, I believe, a little bit more active. He, has definitely shown a lot more power and a lot more, other than that Jack Hermanson fight. He's shown the ability to go out there and want to finish the fight. And Kevin Gastelum, we're first time seeing him since, fighting Jared Cannonier over a year and a half ago. I want to side with Chris Curtis. I think he's the more fun fighter. I think he obviously has been more active. He's got more of a more diverse way to get it done. He can get it done using the leg kicks. He can using his power. He can he does get tired, but he's one of those guys that even when he's tired, he's a little bit different in his approach in the sense that he picks his shots a little bit better when he has more energy. He's not as calculated, but he's more powerful and more, I guess, of a volume guy. So he kind of changes a little bit as the fight goes on. Whereas Kelvin Gastelum, I think Kelvin Gastelum, he's more of the boxer. And I think, it's hard to say at 31 years old after taking a year and a half off after having some of the success that we saw him have and then have the bad stretch that we saw. It's hard to say if Kelvin Gastelum is going to come out and be the Kelvin Gastelum that fought Israel Adesanya or the Kelvin Gastelum that we fight Jared Cannonier and some of these more recent bouts. He's got the win over Ian Heinisch 2 years ago. But getting heel hooked by Jack Hermanson, the Darren Hill split decision loss. Kelvin Gastelum just has not come out and looked his absolute best on a consistent basis. And then, being 5'9", he doesn't have the biggest frame in the world to be fighting at 185 pounds. You would think a guy like that could probably be fighting maybe 170, maybe 155, maybe probably caught in the same issue of like Kevin Lee is where like the 160, 165 pound division would probably be ideal. But the fact that he's fighting one up all the way up to 185, calls into concerns questions about his nutrition and his diet and the way he lives his lifestyle kind of outside of the gym or even in between fights. So it's really hard to bet on Kelvin Gastelum, but I think if you could see a really good Kelvin Gastelum, the ceiling is high enough to where he could put on that Israel Adesanya type of performance where he's coming in and out with his shots, he's picking them clean, he's using good defense, using a good head movement, staying off the center line, popping the jab, sticking out and maybe using some of those leg kicks when he gets an opponent on a back foot or not moving. I think we could see Kelvin Gastelum has all of the pieces to get it done, but I think judging on what we've seen lately, I think Chris Curtis, he may still have a little bit of a speed disadvantage, but I think he's going to definitely, as we see it right here, he's going to have a 4 or 5 inch reach advantage. He's going to have the bigger frame. He's going to have the more pop to his shots. And I don't think he's got to find Kelvin Gastelum a lot to stun and wobble Kelvin Gastelum. And Kelvin's a guy who's been getting wobbled a little bit more. He's always relied on his chin a lot to carry him through fights when he does get hit. But we're starting to see him get wobbled and stunned a little bit more. And that's maybe concerning coming into this. But again, the biggest concerning thing for me is that everything that I'm looking at right now for this fight tells me to pick Chris Curtis. And he actually was favored. I think he was minus 120 or minus 130. And it's all the way shifted. Now he's plus 105. So that's what's really concerning for me and probably why I'm going to stay away from it betting wise, because I just refuse to believe that Vegas knows something that we don't. Or we know something that Vegas doesn't, and they're seeing it, just wrong. So I am concerned. I don't know if maybe Chris Curtis has some degree of an injury. He's always training with Sean Strickland. So the fact that Sean Strickland was going too hard and maybe hurt him is not outside of the question by any realm of the imagination.
Don't accuse Sean of that.
I'm just saying, dude.
I know. I'm
I'm
just
just
kidding.
saying. You're training with a
A
caged animal
madman.
kind of thing. Like you're gonna get bit by the snake if you're hanging around it. It's a fact of of the way I guess they train down there. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
want to accuse anyone of anything, but I am saying it's fishy that a lot of people and everyone I've seen is on Chris Curtis, yet he's still plus 105 and he moved there. So something's going on, and I don't claim to know more than Vegas. So.
Yeah, no, you are right about that. I personally have no faith in Kelvin Gastelum at this point in his career, and after the time that he spent away, I don't know if he has the same love for the game anymore. And like you mentioned, he potentially has issues outside of fighting where he could be at a lower weight class. I don't see the dedication out of Kelvin Gastelum. From what was that 2018. So
Right.
for me, I'm still going with Chris Curtis here.
All right. Well, that ties it up for our prelim notables. Now we're on to our
Sure.
main card picks. But before we do, just make sure you like. Well, okay, that wasn't English. Just make sure you remember to like, comment, and shoot us a subscription if you like the content. We really do appreciate it. We've been on a streak lately. I think over the last 2 weeks we gained something like 12 new subs, so we appreciate it. Looking to keep it